It is easy to point to white privilege as the reason many get away with wrongdoings more than others. But with the recent outcome of the Jussie Smollett case, we now have a shining example of how individual privilege isn't only tied to skin color. I mean, if it was, Smollett would still be facing trial for faking a hate crime. But economic privilege sees no race, gender, sex, or religion. So it all started back in January. It was a cold, dark night when an actor from the popular show Empire told the police he was beaten outside a Chicago hotel by two white men in ski masks, each yelling racist and homophobic slurs at him. Some people doubted his story, but Smollett argued it was only because of his skin color and sexual orientation. But about $130,000 later in police resources, Chicago police confirmed everyone's doubts, announcing that Smollett had in fact staged his own hate crime. Smollett was then charged with 16 felony counts of disorderly conduct. Yikes. But to mine and many others' surprise, things took a sudden turn when Cook County State Attorney Kim Foxx dropped all 16 charges. So how did Smollett, a gay black man, get away with all this? Well, I think the outcome of this case shows the world that we can't infer individual privilege from skin color or sexual orientation alone. Smollett used the announcement to proclaim his innocence, issuing a statement.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I have been accused of, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't.
And the award for Liar of the Year goes to, well, we all know who. An executive producer of Empire tweeted her support for Smollett, saying he was exonerated. However, the funniest part of all of this is that although the charges were dropped, Smollett was not exonerated. A spokeswoman for the Cook County State Attorney said, the charges were dropped in return for Mr. Smollett's agreement to do community service and forfeit his $10,000 bond to the city of Chicago. I mean, she could have just said we cut a deal. And like I said earlier, it is so easy for people to point to white privilege as the main reason a white person gets away with something and luck when a black person does. I mean, in fact, a couple days after the charges were dropped, the hashtag #MyWhitePrivilege was trending on Twitter. The hashtag was used by many white Twitter users to reveal, some things that they supposedly got away with simply because of their skin color. But I am so sorry to break it to you, Jussie. You are not oppressed. Poor people are. I mean, according to the Prison Policy Initiative, even when controlling for race, incarcerated people in the US had a median annual income of $19,185 prior to their incarceration and are concentrated at the lowest ends of the national income distribution with an income of 48% less than that of their non-incarcerated counterpart. I mean, that is certainly not comparable to the $150,000 per episode Smollett was receiving, or about $2 million a year. Combine his bank account with his A-list connections like former Michelle Obama aide Tina Chen. With those kinds of resources and influence, I mean, you can change the outcome of your case and ultimately buy yourself out of anything. Or for others, buy yourself into something a la the recent college admissions scandal. Look, Smollett is gay and black, but he is still the epitome of privilege. So sure, the charges were dropped, but that doesn't mean he didn't do what he's accused of, and it certainly doesn't make him the victim in this situation, as he's claiming. It is so disappointing to think that even though Smollett comes from a long line of social activists with ties to Black Panthers, he saw this as an opportunity to benefit from the publicity and support that comes from stories of racial victimizations today. How embarrassing. I mean, where is the justice? And don't get me wrong, I don't think he should, rot in jail or have his entire life ruined, but he should have had to face trial and the consequences. The Chicago police are right to be upset with how the whole thing has been handled. It's a slap in the face for all the work that was put into this case, the resources wasted, as well as all the slander and hate that the Chicago PD faced during the investigation. I mean, no wonder the city is demanding Smollett pay $130,000 in wasted resources. I agree with Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who said, "You cannot have one set of rules apply to them and another apply to everyone else. Where is the accountability in the system?"